Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. Everyone must be aware of the US chip ban, but in fact, the US restrictions on chip shipments are not only targeted at China. Russia has also been subject to chip bans by the US and the West. Even due to the Russia-Ukraine issue, the US and the West have imposed restrictions and sanctions on Russia. In terms of orientation, it also includes various daily necessities, food, etc. Compared with the rapid development of China chip in recent years, Russia's development in the field of chip semiconductors is actually slower. Not only does it lack a complete domestic chip industry chain and chip manufacturing capabilities, but it also lacks in chip design, chip packaging and testing, and semiconductor equipment. It is heavily dependent on foreign countries in many aspects. After Russia was subjected to comprehensive chip sanctions by the United States and the West, Russia began to develop its own local chip and semiconductor industry chain, and at the same time began to ban chips and semiconductor products from China on a large scale. Judging from Russia's public data, in 2022, 89% of its chips will come from the Chinese market, and less than 5% of its chips will come from other markets. At the same time, 53% of its semiconductor equipment will be shipped from Chinese companies, with some 80% of semiconductor materials are shipped from Chinese companies. From this data alone, we can actually see clearly that although Russia has begun independent research and development and manufacturing in the field of chip semiconductors, most of them, whether it is various equipment, materials or finished chips, come from the Chinese market. Apart from China, only South Korea accounts for 29% of its exports of semiconductor equipment to Russia. Other countries' exports of semiconductor products to the Russian market account for less than 5%. At present, it can be said that Russia is very short of chips. Not only has the number of imported chips and semiconductor products dropped rapidly due to the loss of import channels, but also because Russia can only obtain chip semiconductor products from the United States and the West from third-party channels. This has led to Russia's the cost of importing chips and various materials and equipment has nearly doubled. In 2021, Russia's annual chip imports totaled $1.7 billion, and by 2022 there will only be $800 million left. Although the amount of China's chip imports is also falling rapidly, China is because the domestic substitution of Chinese chips continues to accelerate. Many chips can meet the demand with domestic chips, while Russia has no channels for chip imports due to sanctions. If the increase in the cost of Russian chip imports is taken into account, the scale of chips obtained by Russia in 2022 will be less than a quarter of that in 2021. This has undoubtedly had a very serious impact on many domestic industries in Russia. Not only are mobile phones, computers and other electronic equipment starting to lack cores, but emerging industries such as artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things are also developing slowly due to the lack of support from advanced chips. The most important thing is that many weapons and equipment in Russia today require chips to be removed from home appliances. This also means that Russia now not only lacks advanced chips, but even many mature processed chips cannot meet the needs of the domestic market. In this case, Russia can only choose the help of China chip. Judging from the current situation, China chip is developing very rapidly, especially in terms of mature manufacturing processes. Both production capacity, yield rate and process standards have been greatly improved. The most important thing is that Chinese chips have begun to be exported to the international market. Not only Russian companies have begun to use Chinese chips on a large scale, but also many companies in the United States and the European Union. From the perspective of China's chip production capacity, it is not too difficult to meet the demand of the Russian market. It is precisely for this reason that many American and Western countries, including the United States and the European Union, want China to stop exporting to Russia goods chips. Previously, some foreign media even stated that if China does not stop shipping chips to Russia, it is possible to expand the scope of the U.S. chip ban. U.S. Security Advisor Sullivan has also asked China to stop shipping advanced chips to Russia and wants to restrict Chinese companies from cooperating with Russian companies to develop advanced chips. It is not difficult to see from these news that China now ships a large number of chips to Russia, which meets Russia's domestic needs in many fields. This makes the US and Western chip bans against Russia basically meaningless. It is precisely for this reason that the West has always wanted to prevent continued cooperation between China and Russia in the field of chip semiconductors. Nowadays, with the rapid rise of emerging industries such as artificial intelligence, new energy vehicles, and the Internet of Things, the importance of chips continues to increase. The United States not only wants to restrict the development of Chinese chips, but also wants to restrict the shipment of Chinese chips to the Russian market. This is undoubtedly an impossible thing. Whether it is the chip ban against China, or the US and Western restrictions on chip semiconductor products entering the Russian market, they have actually reminded China of the importance of mastering core technologies. Because Russia's chip and semiconductor industry cannot meet local demand, there is no good solution when the United States and the West impose chip sanctions on it. Although China chip has begun to develop rapidly, it still has a certain way to go before it can meet the needs of the Chinese market. This also means that the development of China's chips is far from reaching its goals. To avoid being stuck, China must accelerate the development of the chip semiconductor industry and vigorously promote the progress and improvement of related technologies. If you agree with this video, please like it, please forward it, leave a message and share it.